Dystopia and Utopia. Just a few years after the Amway decision in 1979, two individuals who threw away their old lives and followed MLM's alternative path to success reflected on their experiences. They offered vivid first-hand accounts of the relentless recruiting and extreme manipulations and deceptions employed to enroll people, induce them to buy product, and continue the recruiting program. They described tactics and behavior that the authors characterized as cultism. Both discovered they had entered the very dystopia they had hoped to escape. Phil Kern's book, Fake It Till You Make It, and Stephen Butterfield's Amway, The Cult of Free Enterprise, were each published by small publishing firms that no longer exist. With 2 years' work and financial investment in pursuit of Amway's compensation plan, which he believed would provide a utopian lifetime annuity income and money, quote, while he slept, Butterfield finally calculated the demographic limits of Amway's endless chain proposition. Using Amway's plan and income disclosure, he concluded that less than 0.5% of Amway's recruits could ever reach the level of sustainable net profit, the so-called diamond level. He calculated, quote, at least 2,083 new active people must be brought in, trained, motivated, programmed, and supplied. Reflecting on the hundreds of thousands of new recruits lured into Amway's net each year with the promise that they could become diamonds, Butterfield concluded, quote, the business is sold as the American dream, but for the average distributor, it's more like a nightmare. By the time the Butterfield and Kern's books were published, Amway was already a major force in the National Republican Party in the U.S. Kern's book opens with a description of the lavish dedication of the Amway Grand Plaza Hotel in Grand Rapids, Michigan, near the Amway headquarters and funded by Amway. The event was presided over by former President Gerald R. Ford and his wife Betty Ford. A year before that event, at the Amway annual convention, the guest speaker was presidential candidate Ronald Reagan. Butterfield and Kern's books each offered a portrait of how the scheme permeated individual lives, disrupted families, and impacted social networks. Amway had become an evangelistic belief system, they both wrote, with its own rituals, hierarchy, membership, rules, enforcement, and extreme indoctrination. To those financially struggling and feeling left behind or forgotten in the global economy, it promised deliverance and fulfillment of the American dream. To those who quit or even questioned the promised destiny, Amway's promoters predicted a dreadful life of unfulfilled dreams, regret, and lost potential, a level of hell that Dante's Inferno might have included had Dante lived in modern America. A decade and a half later, two more courageous individuals documented their own stories inside Amway, the prototype of all other MLMs, confirming and adding to the accounts of Butterfield and Kern's. Author and 10-year Amway participant Eric Scheibler believed Amway's dystopian view of America as a land of mediocrity for those who do not seize opportunity when it is presented to them, with Amway as the greatest of all, the, quote, opportunity of a lifetime. He dramatically quit his regular job, mockingly called in Amway's parlance just over broke, and based his livelihood on Amway. Like virtually all others who made that decision, he piled up debt and faced bankruptcy. In an NBC Dateline expose of Amway, Scheibler confessed he was, quote, destitute. As he chronicled in his book, Merchants of Deception, he was a platform speaker at Amway recruiting events, and while falling behind in his home mortgage payments, he was hailed as a model of success in the Amway program and proof that, quote, anyone can do it. New recruits sought his autograph. Scheibler estimated he never made more than about $30,000 gross income from Amway. Writer Ruth Carter, literary pseudonym, also wrote a book about her long-term experience inside Amway. She described working for one of Amway's champions, a diamond near the peak of the Amway hierarchy, who was similarly promoted as a model for success and one of Amway's many millionaires. She reported that this diamond's entire presentation of being his own boss, enjoying generous time with his family, long vacations to exotic destinations, and an enviable life of wealth and lifetime security, was far more than a lie or exaggeration. Utopia was dystopia. He was almost dead broke, owed back taxes, was drowning in credit card debt, and traveled constantly to stir up new recruits and rally the defectors who dropped out of the program in huge numbers. He had no equity and barely coped with family conflict caused by his long absences and constant financial pressures. The book-length accounts by Phil Kearns, Rob Steiler, Stephen Butterfield, Ruth Carter, and Eric Scheibler all revealed a lie so, quote, colossal, they could not have imagined it. Not only did the promised utopia not exist, but also the pursuit of it led to the hellish dystopia they believed they were fleeing. Amway and other MLMs convinced adherents that happiness and fulfillment were found only at the peak of an MLM endless chain, rather than in their own pursuits of happiness, shaped by their unique identities and founded on their personal values. In their journey to that discovery, they each uncovered another secret. Not only was the promised Amway income unachievable for the new recruits, the famous recruiters, proclaiming from the stage to have reached the utopia of, quote, unlimited income, did not gain whatever money they were supposed to receive from selling Amway goods or from persuading others to join and buy. In reality, the actual income source for the bragging and sanctimonious speakers at Amway's motivation rallies was the money the audience members paid to attend the events. Unsuspecting attendees were exhorted to, quote, never quit, believe, and buy the speaker's books and tapes. Scheibler, Carter, and Butterfield realized that not only was the MLM goal unreachable, but the tools sold to them were a hoax as well. There was no secret to success in MLM except to deceptively sell one.